Hey, what's up, guys? John here. Uh, Today, let's talk about another LeetCode problem, number 759, employee free time. And it's marked as hard. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's a really hard problem or it's like I think to me it's like a more like a medium to hard problem since the I mean the thinking process is pretty straightforward. I'm gonna go give it my own like here, upvote. So I think it's as long as you understand the problem, I think it's not that hard to come up with a correct solution, right? So basically, you are given like a list of array. I'm sorry, a list. What am I saying? A list of schedule. It's a schedule and a list of the interval object, right? So each element will be the like a list of the intervals. Basically, uh, mm, each employees, right? So each element out in the schedule is for each employee, for particular employee. And that element inside, there will be another list of different intervals for that employee. That's going to be his like working intervals, right? And you need to find the common positive length, common positive like free intervals for all the employees. So what does that mean, right? So let's take a example here. Mm, this is for employee one, right? This is for employee two. This is for employee three. Okay, so with employee one and two, for employee one, the free time for employee one is from time 3 to 4, right? And how about the how about 1 and 3, right? So 1 and 3, there's no free time here. There is free time from 3. The free time from here for employee two will be from 3 to to the end, right? To the end. And for employee four, the for employee four, the sorry, for employee three, the free time is like it's from 1 to 3, right? And we need to find the common area. So basically, the common time that all the employees are free, right? So how do we think about this problem, right? I think this one is very similar as the merge intervals, other merging intervals problem. So all we need to do is basically we sort odd intervals. It doesn't really matter how many employees, right? Because even with the same employees, the as long as for different intervals, they cannot be overlapped to each other. So just as if there's another like employee with this like employees. So it doesn't really matter how many intervals per employee. All we need is all the interval pairs. And then we do what? We sort. We sort all the pairs by by the start time, basically, by the start time. And then we just start from the first element, right? And every time if the current element if the current dot start time is greater, right? It's greater than the end than the end time. So we'll be maintaining the end time, right? If it is, then we know we have a gap, right? For all the employees because we already stored everything, right? We stored everything, and then we know the next one. The next one will be t the earliest one, right? For all the employees, and then we know we find a gap for all the employees, Then we just add this like this what? So the gap will be what? The gap will be this end time, right? To this current time, right? To this current dot start time, right? And we keep traversing all the intervals, and in the end, we'll have the our answer, right, for the intervals here. And see, notice here, right? And let's see here. What there's like return the list of finite intervals representing. So here, this one, finite, right? As we said, so for the intervals, right? So what does that mean? It means that for number for the let's say for employee three, right? The free time for the employee three is 1 to 3 plus what? Plus 10 to the max to the infinite, right? To infinite time, and we'll be discarding this. We'll be discarding this infinite time because all we need is the infinite time, so that makes sure we can only all we need to do is just consider the intervals. We can just ignore the others, right? Okay, so let's try to code this thing, right? And first, like what we discussed, we'll be sorting all the intervals based on the start time, right? Um, since we're using Python here, or we can use this, right? The uh, interval, right? Interval for schedule for each schedule, right? And for like each interval in the schedule, right? We do what? We always sort, right? We do a key, so lambda, right? Lambda, we do a x, to what? X start, right? Start. That's because each of the element here will be a interval object, and we just use start to sort, right? And then okay, so first we're gonna create the answer, right? Answer will be like a array of list, and then we'll be maintaining an end time here, right? So what is the end? So we'll be starting the end time. So the end time will be starting as the first interval, right? Because we know that's our first end time, right? So it's gonna be intervals 0, right? Dot end, right? So that will be the starting point of the end. And since we already have the first, because we need to start from the second intervals, otherwise there won't be any finite free intervals, right? Free time intervals. So for I in range length of intervals, right? We just start from that intervals, and we'll be starting from 1 basically, right? Since the 0 is we should start from 1. And then uh, I'll be doing intervals here, intervals, right? Then I, right? So basically all we need to do is here is if, right? Mm, if the current interval start time, right? Start time is greater than the end time, right? Then we know, okay, we find a gap, right? So we simply append the okay, since we're returning like a list of intervals, so we're gonna append a new intervals object here. So the start time will be the end, will be the end, right? And the end time will be the start interval start. So that's the interval basically, right? And then every time when we find a new interval, so we'll be maintaining the end time, right? Basically, we'll do a max, right? Max and current end and the interval dot end, right? And then in the end, we just return the answer. That should do it. So why we're doing this, right? Because let's say there's like a interval here, right? There's a like interval starting from 1 to 10, right? That's the first, let's say that's the first intervals. Since we're starting from that, right? And then the second time, let's say there, we have another intervals from 2 to 5, right? Because, right? Uh, yeah, sorry. I'd say this is for employee one, uh, employee one, right? And this is for employee two, because for one employee, there cannot be two intervals that got overlapped, right? So it says for employee one, it's 10 and then 12 to 15. Like for employee two, let's say it's 2 to 5 and something else, right? And then since we're sorting by the start time, so the first one we will got will be executing is this interval 1 to 10, right? And then when we see this interval 2 here, we see, okay, so is the end, so first we see that the start time is smaller than end, so see, so which means there won't be any intervals, right? Free time intervals. And then in the end, we'll be maintaining this end here, basically. Uh, so in this case, right, in this case, the number 1 and from 1 to 10, in this case 2 to 5, we see, okay, the 5 is not bigger than later than 10, so the end time after finishing this interval is still 10, right? But let's assume, you know, that if this interval is 5 to 2 to let's say if this interval is 2 to 4 11 here, right? So what does that mean? It means that, okay, so once we are seeing this like job here, right? This like interval, the job, we see, oh, so for this one to be finished, we have to wait until 11, right? In this case, the end time after seeing this interval will become whoever is bigger, right? And then the next one, 3, will be based on this end time. That's how we can get the in the result, right? Basically, we uh, we sort by the start time, and then each time we see a end, we check, okay, if this, first we'll check the final the if there's a like free time interval. Second, we every time we see like a new intervals, we just updating this end time so that the next one can be based on the correct end time to check the intervals, right? And oh, we haven't run it yet. Let's see. Uh, I think there's a, oh yeah, sorry. So here should be sorted. Okay, sorted this. Uh, here, yeah, sorted. That's that. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Works so fast. Basically, the idea here is that we have to basically flatten all the intervals, regardless of uh, which employee it belongs to. We just sort all the intervals by the start time, right? And then since we have all the sorted in the intervals, we'll be processing that one by one, and every time will be up keeping the what's what's the what's the end time we have seen, right? And then basically what's the last end time, And then if the current schedule has a gap between the start and this the previous the end time, the previously end time, then we know there's like an answer. Um, yeah, I think that's everything. I think for this problem, I hope I explained it clear enough for you guys to understand it. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or suggestions. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye.